So Gary, looking forward the next 5 years or so, where do you see the media landscape?
Well, I mean, the media landscape is radically shifting. It just did. I think this year was a watershed year, actually, for the media landscape. What's happening is we shifted to this pull-based society where we can pull anything we want on any device whenever we want it. And what I think is going to happen is scheduled TV is really going to become a thing of the past eventually, and there's no reason for content really to be scheduled other than sports or entertainment, big events such as the Olympics. What is going to happen is people are going to be pulling to them on whatever device is they have on their person at the time, and they will be pulling that show to them or that content irrespective of what the media space or media marketplace wants them to view. I mean, we can no longer control that. So, I mean, case in point, I mean, my behavior on Breaking Bad was a great example of that. I was behind a couple of seasons, and I started watching it, and I was completely attached to that, and I was viewing that any way I could. You know, I was watching it on the treadmill, on my iPad. I was carrying it around on the train if I could. I would watch it on my iPhone. I'd watch it on TV if I was home, and there was an opportunity to watch it on a big screen, of course. But I chose to view that, and it displaced a lot of other content that I might have been watching. You know, so on the treadmill in the past, maybe I would have watched the Today Show. I might have watched something that was on air that particular night, but I was able to choose whatever it was I wanted, whenever I wanted it, in whatever form I wanted it. So even magazines will become more video oriented. I might decide to read the magazine in its print form. I may decide to watch the video franchise of that, you know. So I just think that it's going to completely transform. And it'll be completely self-selected by the individual.
So out of all the devices you use to consume media, which is the one that you would never give up?
Well, you know, I think I'm making this shift like everybody is. I think a smartphone is really the thing that I'm less likely to give up, just because it's everything. You know, it's my contacts, it's my video, it's my, you know, my New York Post I read, I read all my news on my phone actually. So I think the smartphone is the thing that I'm less likely to give up. And what's interesting though is if you think about it, the thing that I'm really not willing to give up is the connectivity. So all those devices, any device I have is absolutely meaningless. It's dead weight without the connectivity. So I think we all see that, right? If we go to an area that has a low sort of wireless network and all of a sudden you can't do anything, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. So I think the most important thing to all of us moving forward will be the actual connectivity as opposed to the device. That we'll get more fluid on the devices as long as we have the connectivity into those devices.
What do you think the future is for connected TVs, smart TVs?
I think it's definitely going to be a big thing. I mean, I bought my first connected TV just a week ago, and for the past year I've been shifting my viewing behavior to Netflix and to Hulu and different on-demand products like that. And the connected TV is a fantastic thing because I get to pull that all on a large screen, and I don't have to be walking around and watching that on devices that are not as that don't have the same viewing experience. So I think connected TVs are going to be huge. I don't know that we'll actually shift all that rapidly. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be checking Facebook on my TV, you know. I don't know that I'll be doing my Twitter through my TV, but I most certainly will be pulling my content however I want it through that smart TV, and I'll be less reliant on scheduling associated with that particular box.
Harry, where do you see programmatic buying going in the future?
Well, I mean, programmatic buying is literally going to be about following audiences online. And, it initially was developed, I think, for efficiency. It was seen as an efficiency play. But the reality is, as time goes on, we're going to be able to identify audiences. So what we do is we quantify audiences of people attached to a brand or moderately attached to a brand, and those audiences become media. Because at the end of the day, media is nothing more than an audience that you think is most likely to buy your brand. So where we see it initially starting is we're playing now in the digital space, so we'll be able to distribute through online video and display, and we will tie that audience to a cookie. But in the future, the cookies are not necessarily going to be the way to go. So we're going to look for digital identifiers in mobile, and we'll look for digital identifiers in set-top box. And those digital identifiers, just think of them as the person's unique address that follows them. The only difference between direct marketing in the 80s and programmatic buying today is that the person's address used to be their identifier, now their home address. Now what it is we follow people wherever they go. So we'll just be creating a number of different digital identifiers who are attached to different brands of individuals and follow them through set-top box, mobile, and online.